lowland gorillas, you knuckle dragging apes. Hope you guys had a great trading week and made some good money. Just note that this is the week you give the money back to the market makers, so take profits, you fucking degenerate primates. Today we're going to look at a chart which I believe is a standout right now. This is a very clean chart for ETC. Again, Boomer Asset tends to run really hard when it does, and it tends to accumulate for a long time when it's in accumulation. I think we're not about to, but we could potentially be breaking out of accumulation. This is a chart on the server. A bunch of the guys were talking about Nico, Milkman, Ponzi, myself. I streamed about it yesterday, but this one really is a standout right now. Now, let's break down the weekly just so you have a good starting point when you're trying to assess where to enter. So you can see there was an all-time high here on July 2018, and that is marked in as our key level. Over here, you can see there's a bit of an accumulation in this range, just weaving in and out of that key level. And recently, in the last 5 weeks, it's been up only, leaving behind a couple of imbalances with one notable one right above the key level. So the main trade setup that I'm watching right now, and again there's 3 variations of the same trade, is you have this liquidity arc to the left. So you have these very obvious highs that would be targeted on the move up, and then you have equal highs at the top of the consolidation box over here at 24.95. So the full move looks like a 3x from here. And again, ETC moves really fast. You could see this pump previous cycle, and then this one last cycle. So, well, not last cycle, but the last wave up in 2022. So on the weekly, the main setup I'm watching is over here. You have that weekly imbalance right over here, just above the key level. So I'd imagine what you're doing right now is effectively engineering supply side liquidity up here. So this supply line, it might interact with it one more time here, and then I'm expecting a flush down just to anyone who's trapped long at the top of this leg to pull back, because I mean we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks straight only green. It's very uncharacteristic to pull out a second week in a 6th week and a 7th week in a row like that. You could just look at the history, right? 4 or 5 weeks, 2 weeks. Even here on the mega pump, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. So we're in the 5th week right now. Not saying it doesn't just completely send from here, but it's more likely to trap people and then bring it back. If it does, then what I'm looking for is entry somewhere above the key level here inside the imbalance, maybe in the midpoint, and then start DCing as it goes down. So that would be the weekly imbalance that I'm looking to target on this trade. Now the other ones that I'm seeing are a low time frame entry model here. Actually, even before we get into that one, we just have a quick peek on the daily. So you can see we've already kind of tested this imbalance on the daily right here, but you have some liquidity built up and an order block right here before big displacement. So that's why on the weekly this level should hold, and the only thing that doesn't look as great is you have all this exposed liquidity on the way down. So if it wants to flush, it definitely can. That's why you have to have some sort of invalidation below the key level here. On the low time frame, what I'm watching is something like this. So again, if you look at this fractal over here, this is your market structure shift, right? What I like about it on the setup is you had a raid here creating this order block. So this raid right here went into this order block and then formed another one. So you basically have like a propulsion block here with 2 layered order blocks on top of each other. And then you have one here as well. So one of the things you could do on the trade would be you have the raid, you have a market structure shift. Now just let it pull back into this range where you have a 15-minute order block inside of the 1 hour imbalance. So this could be an entry, and then the assumption would be this is a protected low. So even if they pull in to grab this liquidity on the internal, hopefully this would hold. But again, your safer bet would be below the original order block down here. So this is a risky low time frame trade. It's not actually the one I'm taking. I'm going to focus on the daily. And there's one more model that I'm going to pull up here, which I'm watching on the weekly. So if I just zoom in a little bit more, you can see there's a pretty strong level of accumulation over here, right? So it's been in accumulation for weeks, like going back to, well, months, going back to October 2022. So basically a year of accumulation. So this is kind of like Link, but half the time. If you guys remember Link's chart, it basically had the same accumulation box into a manipulation that took out the equal lows, and then it ran like crazy, right? So this could be the other setup that plays out. I'm not taking the low time frame. That's one you could do, but I'd imagine you'd want to go in with low leverage and just take a smaller position on that one. This one's one you could do kind of a spot play, or you go in heavy after the manipulation, just looking for a reclaim of those equal lows. So if it does wick down into here and then get absorbed immediately and you close back in the range on the weekly, then I would be looking for a daily 4-hour entry model for a swing where it reclaims this level. And then to me, that's going to be the optimal trade entry for this setup. And the reason I like it is they left a footprint here on the left with a bunch of highs they would be targeting on the way up. And what I really like is you could see on my TP levels, this one right here would be relatively equal highs within the consolidation range. So that's like a very obvious liquidity objective to the upside. And then you have these ones that are also representing a pretty solid liquidity pool. And then I think once you have momentum going into the liquidity arc, this thing gets above this structural level right here, and this should zip up and basically have the momentum to carry it to the original consolidation here before the reversal. So I'm looking at AMD model, basically accumulate in this range, potential manipulation below to grab these wicks and stop everyone out for the real move, and then basically a reclaim in this box and run into the distribution levels that we have marked out, TP1, TP2, all these wicks, and then the final original consolidation at TP3. So this would be a 300, the early entry here is a 300% entry. The AMD model that I'm looking at is more like a 5x, which is why this would be a spot entry or a heavy leverage one with many DCAs once you reclaim. So hopefully this is a trade you guys could snipe, avoid imminent poverty, and get that Lambo and Island you wanted, you bunch of creeps.